Hey, Jason here from Simply Swider. So if your LG washer is showing that OE error code and won't drain, don't worry. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix it. Good news is most of these problems are way simpler than you'd think, and you can definitely save yourself some money doing it yourself. Before we get started, if you run into any questions, jump into our Facebook group. Links in the description. We've got thousands of people helping each other fix their appliances, and I pop in there daily to help out. So the big one, and I'm talking about 60 to 70% of these OE codes, is that drain filter getting packed with junk. You can see on the screen right now where this little guy lives, bottom front of the machine, behind that access door. Here's what happens. Lint, coins, hair, bobby pins, all that stuff gets caught in there over time. It's supposed to protect your pump, but if you're not cleaning it monthly, like the manual says, it just turns into a dam. I had this lady last week who hadn't touched hers in 3 years. Thing was so packed with lint, it looked like a cotton ball factory exploded in there. Now here's where people mess up. They hear the pump humming and assume it's working. But if that filter's clogged solid, no water's getting through to the pump in the first place. Here's how to check it. This takes about 5 minutes. You'll need a shallow
Draining
pan or
properly.
towels. First, open that access panel at the bottom front. You'll see a small emergency
Once
drain
the water
tube.
is drained,
Pull it out and
plug
drain
the
the
drain
water
hose
into your
and
pan
reinsert it
first.
back into
Skip
place.
this step and you'll have gallons of water flooding your floor. Learn that the hard way. Once drained, unscrew that filter cap by turning it counterclockwise. If it's packed with debris, there's your problem. Clean it out, rinse it good, check the housing for anything stuck further back. If the threads are damaged or it's leaking when you put it back, then you're looking at replacing the filter, but that's only about 10 to 15 bucks. Next up is the drain pump itself giving up the ghost. This accounts for about 20 to 25% of these OE errors. Now, here's what's tricky about these LG pumps. They use a plastic impeller that's attached to a metal shaft, and over 3 to 5 years, that connection just strips out or snaps. I remember this guy who called me, swore his pump was fine because it was making noise. Well, the motor can hum all day long, but if that plastic impeller is broken off the shaft, you're not moving any water. Here's the simple test that reveals everything. With the filter removed, stick your finger in and spin the impeller. A broken pump spins freely like a bike wheel, smooth and easy. A working pump feels sticky and jerky, like it's fighting you every step of the way. That resistance means it's still connected properly. If yours spins smooth, you need a new pump. Expect to pay $25 to
Feed the
$75 for
drain
the
tube through
part.
its
The other thing
designated
that
hole.
happens is the motor windings go bad. You can test that with a multimeter, looking for about 10 to 20 ohms on AC pumps. Infinite resistance means the coil's open and the motor's toast. The drain hose is one possible cause of the trouble, so inspect it for cracks, kinks, or improper installation. This is the corrugated hose that goes from your washer to the standpipe in the wall. Here's what I see. People push their washer back too tight against the wall and kink that hose, or it gets clogged up with grease and sludge over the years. Sometimes it's installed wrong. If the hose goes too far down into that wall pipe, it creates a siphoning effect that prevents proper draining. The hose end should sit between 39 and 96 inches high, basically somewhere between your waist and shoulder height when standing next to the washer. I had this customer last month whose washer was draining fine, then suddenly started throwing OE codes. Turned out when they moved it to paint behind it, they crushed the hose against the wall when they pushed it back. Simple visual check. Pull the washer out and look for kinks. You can also disconnect the hose and blow through it. If there's resistance, you've got a clog. Most of the time, you can just straighten the hose or snake out a clog. If it's permanently crushed or cracked, you're looking at about 20 to 30 bucks for a new one. This one's sneaky. Maybe 5% of cases, but it'll drive you nuts if you don't know to look for it. The sump hose is that big black accordion hose that connects the bottom of the tub to the pump. Here's what happens. Small stuff slips past the door seal, baby socks, underwear, those color catcher sheets, and gets lodged in there before it ever reaches the filter. The pump runs, the filter's clean, but no water's getting to the pump housing. You got to squeeze that rubber hose from underneath and feel for lumps or objects stuck in there. I remember this lady who was ready to buy a new washer. Turned out her kid's sock was wedged right in that eco ball check valve. 20-minute fix once we found it. To get it out, you'll need to remove the hose clamps and pull the hose off. It's a bit more involved, but if you're comfortable with basic disassembly, it's totally doable. This is the rare one, less than 5% of the time, but when it happens, It's usually a broken wire near the pump connector or a bad relay on the control board. These washers vibrate like crazy, and over time, wires can rub against the cabinet or just fatigue and break internally. The dead giveaway is when you test for voltage at the pump during a drain cycle and get nothing. Should be 120 volts AC on most models. I've seen people replace pumps 2 or 3 times before someone finally checks the wiring. If it's just a broken wire, that's a
Onto
simple
the new
splice
control
job.
board
If the
assembly.
control board's not putting out voltage, then you're looking at 150 to 300 bucks for a new board. And honestly,
Position
at
the
that point, you
assembly.
might want to think about whether it's worth fixing, depending on how old your washer is. The drain filter, this is basically free to fix most of the time since you're just cleaning it out. If the filter cap threads are stripped or the seals shot, you're looking at about 10 to 15 bucks for a replacement. Super easy DIY job. This is literally a maintenance item that any homeowner should be comfortable handling. The drain pump assembly runs anywhere from 25 to 75 bucks depending on your model. Here's the thing. Don't try to glue a broken impeller back together. Some repair methods may require verification or additional steps to ensure lasting results. Just replace the whole pump motor assembly. The job's moderately difficult. You'll need to remove either the front panel or tip the machine back to access it from underneath. If you're not comfortable with that level of disassembly, this might be where you call a pro. If the drain hose is kinked beyond repair or cracked, you're looking at about 20 to 30 bucks for a new one. Most of the time, though, you can just straighten out a kink or snake out a clog for free. This is an easy DIY fix as long as you can move the washer safely. For electrical issues, if it's just a broken wire, that's maybe 5 to 10 bucks in parts, just some wire nuts and electrical tape. If the main control board is dead, that's where it gets expensive. 150 to 300 bucks or more. At that point, especially if your washer's over 8 years old, you might want to consider whether repair makes sense versus replacement. Let's break down the costs if you need to replace parts. The good news, you'll spend $30 to $75 doing it yourself versus $200 to $400 for a service call. That's real money back in your pocket. Here's the breakdown on the main components you might need to replace. Now, before we wrap up, you can see right there on the screen the most common LG models that run into these drainage problems. Front loaders are especially prone to that plastic impeller issue I mentioned. Usually happens around the 3 to 5 year mark. If you've got one of the newer models from 2020 and later, heads up, some of those use DC pumps instead of AC, so the resistance readings are different when you're testing. And here's something that trips people up. Some models have both a drain pump and a recirculation pump sitting right next to each other. Make sure you're working on the right one. The drain pump is the one with the drain hose connected to it. That's how you fix the LGO error code. Here's your action plan. Step 1, clean the drain filter. Step 2, test the pump impeller by spinning it. Step 3, check for kinked drain hoses. Step 4, look for electrical issues. Remember these key points. A humming pump can still be broken. Always drain water before opening the filter. And a freely spinning impeller often needs replacement. Most fixes cost under $75 versus $300 for a service call. If this helped you get your washer draining again, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Let me know which fix worked for you. Really helps other people with the same problem. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll get this out to more folks who need to save some time and money. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.